Why don't F1 cars have a handbrake? There was quite a sketchy moment at the Austrian Grand Prix involving Carlos Sainz's car, where his Ferrari, which was up in flames at the time, started rolling back down the hill at turn 4. It then raised quite a few questions around why the car was allowed to roll back, and whether F1 cars do indeed have a handbrake. Well, the answer is they don't, and there's reasons why. Formula 1 is about a team making their car as fast as they possibly can, both over one lap and then a race distance. One key ingredient to making your car fast is weight. This means that teams will strip back on things I'm sure they'd love to be able to have in their car, like a fully functioning reverse gear, which is really easy to select. It's actually a very fragile piece of equipment that isn't really meant to be used, hence why it takes an F1 driver so long to find reverse gear. Another being teams changing their paint scheme from glossy to matte in order to save a few grams of weight, and of course what we're talking about in this video, not having a handbrake. Now, you may have been confused if you heard the team radio of Sergio Perez in Miami, where he was told to use the handbrake at turn 11. We aren't telling you lies here, don't worry. In fact, teams use all kinds of shorter terms to describe something a lot more complex in the car. So in fact, what this probably meant to Sergio is to run some sort of extreme brake bias to aid him getting turned into the tight left-hander. Going back to the Carlos Sainz incident, obviously it was pretty concerning when he started rolling back down the hill when trying to exit his Ferrari that was on fire. But generally speaking, F1 cars don't need a handbrake. In that situation, it was more the fact that marshals weren't particularly prepared. For whatever reason, it looked as though a wedge wasn't brought out immediately to stop the car rolling back, and one of the marshals even put a fire extinguisher down and then ran in the opposite direction. However, since this, there's been a person on Reddit claiming to be an Austrian GP track marshal who said there was something placed under the tyre to stop it and the car rolled over it. The marshal who came with the fire extinguisher got the order through the radio to get the car with the big extinguisher. Whatever the reasoning, it was still a bit of a mess really, wasn't it? They are literally situated at a place where this is a hill. It shouldn't exactly be a surprise that a car starts to roll back down. Of course, there will without a doubt be an investigation into what went down, and I don't want to go in too hard on the marshals because they are the reason we can go racing. Usually unpaid volunteers who purely do it because of their love for the sport. Definitely need to make sure nothing like that happens again though. Carlos Sainz also gave his thoughts after the race. He said, "As soon as I tried to jump out, I saw that the car was rolling backwards, and I didn't want to leave the car completely free, out of control, rolling backwards while jumping out. I was calling the marshals to come and help me to put something on the tyres to stop the car rolling down, but I think the whole process was a bit slow." So no, there is no handbrake, and usually no reason for an F1 car to stop on any sort of incline anyway. If they do, they have the ability to stay in gear to ensure they don't roll backwards. But of course, if your car is on fire, you're probably going to want to get out of the car immediately and expect the marshals to sort out that particular problem. The closest an F1 car can get to having a handbrake is something similar to what I mentioned with Sergio Perez, changing settings in the car to lock the rear differential to allow for quicker turn-in. This would usually be implemented if a driver is suffering from chronic understeer. However, if you go down this road, the driver will then suffer from random snaps of oversteer and loss of traction out of corners. It's all a balancing act, but no, they are not grabbing a big old handbrake stick and kicking the rear end out. There you have it, why F1 cars do not have a handbrake. What did you make to the whole Carlos Sainz fire situation? Let us know in the comment section below.